Shocking tit. That's really good. That's a pretty good one.
That's one for the books.
That's one for the books for sure.
That's just like a band name. What's a band name?
Shocking tit?
I was thinking that. It reminds me of Talking Heads.
A little bit. Right. So you asked me to communicate to you like core conceptual stuff, and I opened with, have you read House of Leaves?
Yep.
Okay. And you said no. House of Leaves is a really weird, fucked up book that What's that?
Who's it by?
I can't remember his name right now. It might be a pair of people, actually. It's a big, huge, fuck-off, thick volume.
Okay.
Part of it is because it methodically tinkers with typographical typesetting choices on the page.
Oh.
To the extent of, like, some pages only have 4 words, 2 words, 1 word, etc. And it gets really weird with it.
Okay.
I open with that because I want to ultimately create like an EPUB, sort of almost like an app instead of a book.
Is that thing gone? Shit.
What's the matter?
I started unraveling.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, yeah.
Selfish.
No. That's valid question, dude. Good to know. I'm sorry.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah. Future me will be like, it's fine, man. That book is central to my part of my inspiration.
Okay.
Of what I want to create. I want to create an app where you're experiencing this story being shared with you, and it might be a little bit like a video game sometimes, or a little bit like a short film, and a little bit like I'm turning pages in a book now, and it's I'm not writing it trying to achieve that right now. I'm just writing the actual meat and bones of the stories that I want to tell. It's a world of worlds. The main character says it's books within books within books. And one of the thematic things that repeats is that a character that will be like the primary character for a story or a chapter or an episode or a book will have gone through some bottoming out, and then in evaluating their life and trying to make a decision about how to react.
Your necklace is caught in the button.
Oh, careful, the button.
Yes.
The necklace is caught.
Sorry.
No.
I was like, thank you for the sweater.
Your chain. Fix it. Yes, there you go.
They encounter this same phenomena over and over again, right? They've just bottomed out, something horrible's happened to them.
Bottomed out?
Yeah, like for example, one woman is in a book called Forgiving Bobby McGee, and she's just fed up with her life. She's living somewhere kind of civilized but remote, and she rides a long distance kind of bicycle commute, and just like it's a shitpost. Oh, ashtray! It's a shitpost job that she's sort of been demoted to, and she's been tolerating it, and she's got a trauma that's associated with the career lateral move demotion, but she just wants out, right? Like so she's just bottoming out and trying to keep that going. She's supposed to stay there for X amount of time, and then maybe she can come back to her field operation. She's a government agent. One of the things I play with is that I just want to tackle movie tropes and homage them, and then also flip them inside out. So there's stuff that's generic and there's stuff that's really specific. But Venture Brothers is one of the reference points of things I want to spoof and homage a wee bit. If you know that show.
Unfortunately, I don't.
I don't know if they're on the streaming platforms or not. But what look good do? So let's take this woman for an example, because she's sort of in a prequel book, actually.
So is this a series of books, or is this chapters within a larger story?
I think of it as both, but technically it's a series of books. It will want to sell as a series of books.
Large books?
Medium-sized, full-size books, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe not big fat Stephen King-esque, fucking fuckers, but... yeah, and I totally want them to be published in paper once. Right? As a standard, you got it at Barnes & Noble book. Mm-hmm. But the dream version is this weird EPUB experience of the book.
So that's where the House of Leaves comes in with playing with the actual formatting and presentation.
Mm-hmm. And if I extrapolate out to conceptually, and here's where I'm getting with this reference, so this moment is echoed in every book. This woman, in the midst of the turmoil that she's thinking, gets to this terrible office space that she sits at, and it's dreary and literally has to do nothing all day. Government shitpost. And on top of her desk is a box full of books in it, and on top of the box is a book, and the book is impossibly like depicting a photo of her dead lover. And she opens the book, and the book is like as if her dead lover was an action hero, super spy, and it's an action sequence novel, and it's like and there's all this stuff that she knows about but she wasn't there for that part of her lover's life. And she opens the box, and there's a bunch of books like that, and one of them is her book. It's got her name on it. Her name is Bobby McGee.
Okay.
So as an example, that's like a thematic thing that I want to play with. And here's the main character. The main character is the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo, who is framed as a terrorist, villain type, nefarious character who's acquiring things he shouldn't acquire and amassing power in ways that he shouldn't perhaps amass it. And there's a international team of people chasing him down. But really what they don't realize is that it's a frame job and they're just being played. Right? They're not really investigating anything. They're being fed bullshit. And that's why everything's kind of weird and dead-endy and mysterious. And of course the flip is that Zeppo thinks of himself as a good guy almost to a comical extent. Like we're making fun of the fact that in James Bond movies the villain stops to explain everything because he's got a reason for blowing things up. It's, and it should sort of make sense to you once he's explained it, right? Mm-hmm. His is goofy and weird and simple. But I think I may have rambled out of context about this part at times here. But he's in a prison. And he thinks this prison is this place, this experience, right? Like he's been booted into this egg of a universe, and it's a solitary confinement situation.
So he's all alone inside of a simulation where everybody is fake?
Where everybody is sort of organically, like, not as real as him. But it's as real as if it would be if everyone here was fully, truly, the divine, spark. He comes from a place where he's a curator of these eggs. And he's inside one of his own creations? Yeah. He didn't create them. He didn't build them, but he tends to them. He curates, right? Okay. And he got fed up with his job. It's a little bit tedious and boring. As an egg tender. And he thought, what if we just triggered... Because the egg thing is borrowed from a piece of literature that got turned into a small film. And many people have made an amateur version of this film. It's really kind of cute to watch a bunch of them in a row. Because it's short. But it's this moment after death where this guy wakes up in a grassy knoll and a person approaches him who identifies themselves as the divine being people call God. And you have that conversation of like, well, what the fuck is my life about? What happened? And is my wife okay? And I'm dead and blah, blah, blah. And the bottom line is God gets around to the point of explaining everything's fine. You are you, but you're going right back because you were everybody. You were your wife, you were your kid, you were Abraham Lincoln and the slaves he freed, you were Hitler and the Jews he killed, etc. Everybody. It's you. So don't worry. You're going to be here for a hot second. You're going to go back and live another round. And it'll all feel linear, but it's not. It's all happening at once, etc., etc. So imagine where, like, outside of that egg experience where that person comes to tell you that and you're stuck there and you're going to live all the lives ever possible until the universe is done.
Outside of the eggs?
Outside of the eggs.
Can you go into the eggs?
Yeah, you can go into the eggs. And
like with that knowledge, like you head in and then like lose that knowledge or keep that knowledge? Or
well, Zeppo kept that knowledge.
But everybody else
loses
goes through that process. Okay.
That loses the knowledge.
Okay.
Right? So he's like... He gets punished for trying to shortcut the system and get everybody just done with the long, endless process that he must tend to, that he finds so annoying and silly. From his perspective, outside of the eggs.
Right.
So inside of the eggs, he's this villainous guy because he's trying to do the same thing inside out in this prison egg. He goes, well, fuck them. They're all fucking phantom people anyway. None of this is real. It's solipsism 101. I'm the only real one. Everyone else is a fiction of my jail's imagination. If I pop your pineal glands, I'm out of here. The egg will hatch and I'll be back in my level. Even though the prison system thinks they can stop me. I know enough. I know enough of the secret details, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
He builds a device, he successfully triggers it, but instead of freeing him, it bifurcates the universe that he's in, the jail system that he's in, into a new fractal level of bifurcation. So the one world that he was at, which was like, you're in a big infinite universe, but there's only one real world, and it sits in this little bubble of emptiness. Now that one's split up into multiple worlds where a bunch of different stories play out, in which everyone there is someone in this main Zeppo world's life who was a real person, because Zeppo didn't know he'd been lied to. They are also prisoners in the jail of this egg.
Can you rewind 10 seconds?
Uh-huh. I mean, are you asking me as a mechanic, or are you asking me to literally go back and say the last thing? Okay.
Second one.
He's in this prison. He builds a device that he theorizes will pop all the phantom people's pineal gland.
Now, all the phantom people inside of one egg?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The one egg he's trapped in.
So like 7 billion kind of a deal?
Sure. However many.
Just like the population of this Earth?
Yeah, the population of this Earth.
Okay.
The secret that he doesn't know, as a prisoner in this supposedly very solipsistic, you're the only real one, everyone else is fake, is that every other actual body is someone serving out a sentence just like him.
So they're not phantoms.
They're
he
not
was
phantoms.
incorrect.
He was incorrect. And his entire theory is flawed by that.
Okay.
So, thus, this bifurcation happens because he successfully triggers his device, and it's a central image where everything's like this slow motion explosion that's like been like almost narrowly avoided, but then the button gets pushed. So it's like, and in the aftermath, everyone's in like a new level of self-inception, of not being aware of what's going on. And
is it more eggs with more phantoms?
It's inside the same egg.
Okay.
It's more like now where there was one planet, there's now an infinite number of planets.
But it's all in one egg.
It's all in one egg.
Okay.
And everyone is, to some degree or another, like Zeppo, struggling with their imprisonment.
Do they know?
No. I mean, in the level where Zeppo successfully triggers the device, they knew they were being punished. Now everyone's like, what?
So do they know what? Why are they there? What are they being punished for?
Violations along the same lines of Zeppo's, wanting to cut corners, wanting to cheat the system. There's not a lot of law, like the way we know it, the way we use it here, in this place where the curators and the architects hang out and live their life. But there is a sort of prohibition from trimming the process, skipping ahead, if you crack, to reuse and literally borrow an actual proverb, if you crack the egg, the chicken can't hatch. Right?
Okay.
So it's like verboten, like you can't, there's no even theorized, like it's fuck that noise. And the moment you get like caught with your hand in the cookie jar, because it's like, if this world is riddled with ego traps here, and there's a purpose, that we call the path, and the path is the function of avoiding the ego traps to elevate ourselves to the best. This is the one ego trap in Zeppo's world. Okay. Is cutting this corner about the eggs. Because there's obviously like something will happen when all the eggs are done, and we, the people here, the meta archons, will experience some other thing. We will all have been born, and some other thing will happen that's like much beloved and looked forward to and holy and high in their culture. But it's a mystery, and most of the schleps in their world don't know it. That's why this seduction, this ego trap of like, well then why can't we just start that party right now, motherfuckers?
Is that the prohibition?
No. No. It's just to try and get them to hatch. Yeah! I kept using words like incepting. Inception-y.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No. That'll have to go in. Some character in this world will have to make some fun sex joke about the eggs.
Where did you get that shirt from?
I bought this at that store we went to when I bought these pants.
Wow.
It was the last minute dodge. I'd seen it earlier and I really liked it. And I was like, I don't need to spend that much money. But it was like, the guy was like, hey, this is a half off thing. Half off. Which it was free, but I was like, it's worth it.
I like that.
Yeah, it made the ensemble though. This is my
It's
my rehearsal ensemble.
It's good. And the robe.
And the robe and the boots.
And the boots. It's a whole thing. I like it. Yeah.
I agree.
So what happens in the fractal egg? So now everybody's... So every character that was in this first egg is now in a fractal egg of their own, and it's a prison with no other phantom people. So are the other eggs the non-prison eggs? That's a sentence.
Yeah.
So are the other non-prison eggs are the people that is it one person per egg? And then there's a phantom world.
The world is phantom. They are everybody.
So it's like an egg web where like everybody's got their own egg, but they're living in some sort of like shared version of this.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
And inside your own egg, like for example, if this were the egg, it would be the very like the I amness is one, and we have to just figure that out.
Right.
That is the real purpose of the egg. Is like you are everybody.
Well, so I don't know the real RJ, right? I only know the RJ that's a simulation that my brain concocts that is a basis of like the stimulation and the sound of your voice and all. It's patterning it into this concept called RJ, but that's not actually RJ. So is it like you're the RJ egg and like the sensory version, and that's sort of the veil between the eggs?
Yeah.
All right.
Suppose so. Yeah. That's an excellent. It's an excellent way of putting that.
Okay.
There's a lot. That chunk.
My head around it.
Yeah. That chunk is an area that I actually have done the least writing in, and that you won't see a lot of reference on the Wattpad stuff.
What?
It's called Wattpad. The platform I sent you the link to.
Okay.
So those things are the things that I'm most comfortable with and are like out there as samples that are, and I just want to keep adding to them until the rough drafts of each book are done. Right? And from there, I'll go and like take them off of there to I want to sell them. Updraft them to something slicker and sell them. But what you'll find there is an interesting collection of different weirdly titled books, like Blank Slate, which is a novelization of the play that I wrote with a bunch of musicians at that theater that you went to in Fullerton. And that I've talked to you guys about before, but it's like, people living in the post-apocalypse trying to bring theater to everyone because everyone's busy just surviving and trying to, shoot each other.
Their lives are theatrical enough.
Yeah, I ain't got no time to sit around and dance bullshit, watching people sing and dance. There's another one called The Adventures of Johnny Apple Weedseed, which is similar but different. This is like a Wild West with magical creatures and like wizards and occult.
Is this all in one universe?
It's like a shared universe of different books and they all eventually will like find their common ground. Because Zeppo has to fix this thing that he did with the device.
Is that why there's weird things happening in the other universe? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So is the Wild West wizard monster one, is that in one egg that's unbalanced by what Zeppo has done? Is that the premise?
Oh, that's an interesting positing. It could be that it's viral and it spreads to other eggs and that's why it becomes a big urgent thing. Yeah. I'm digging that direction.
Okay.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah. Cool. There's other ones too that have weird things going on with them.
You got to find a through line somehow.
Uh-huh.
Something that some story that's coalescing within all of them.
Oh well,
You know
here's
what
the
I mean?
thing. Here's the thing. Remember the box full of books where they like some
Yes.
characters will get them, they have to read them. Zeppo.
Wait, go back though.
Okay.
Revisit it.
Yeah. There's a character. So Bobby McGee goes through this.
Why is she called Bobby McGee?
Because I love the song, and when I heard the song once, the song. I saw. Sometimes songs don't do anything. Sometimes the same song that I've heard 1,000 times will activate and do a weird image thing. And I saw a woman like with a bicycle, like hoboing it on a train, kind of, and like getting to a place, and then like riding for a really long time, getting in an accident, and then like having to like live through that, and then the situation, and that became the setting for she's been demoted and given this shitpost job out in some podunky place.
What time period are we in?
That one is for Forgiving Bobby McGee would be say 2030.
2030. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe okay. So just because that name's a reference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're going to do that reference, what might be interesting is to include like something about the fact that her parents or grandparents named her after that song.
Yeah.
And have her like or not like that. As
Yes.
part of, like how you develop her character.
I don't remember right now for a fact if there is already or not a passage about that, but I certainly have had the thought, and I'll be pleased to find out when you read it whether or not it's already in there.
Cool.
Because I know I've like totally like had that tickle of like she must hate that song, and like what choice do I want to make about that?
Yeah. I feel like she doesn't like it. I feel like she's serious. She's like a government worker. You know what I mean? She I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Although maybe round peg in a square hole. Maybe she does like it. Maybe she took the government job.
Mm-hmm.
Things to think about.
Exactly. And whatever's up, by the way, I'm still very amenable to like adjusting and letting it develop and grow.
For sure. Yeah.
Very flexible.
You should read this fucking book by Orson Scott Card, man. It changed my life when it comes to like writing books.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a book about creating characters, and the premise of the book is that most authors deal with things in terms of plot and putting their characters into place to make the plot execute.
Yeah.
But what he does is he actually builds the character first and then tries to think about how to challenge that character's way of life and then builds from there. So I found a happy medium kind of between the two.
Yeah.
But the book is so useful. I mean, it's just, getting yourself to ask those questions and start to treat the character as though it's alive and then care for it in that way. And, you know what I mean?
I can totally sense that, especially he's got a collection of like short, not quite short stories, not quite novellas, whatever. And in one of them, which is actually very like influential for this project, he has like a band of survivors, and this guy's like a Pony Express type guy, but his horse is dead, and it's him and his saddle out in the middle of nowhere, and like a family in a caravan comes by and picks him up, and they go from town to town, put on a show about patriotism. They do a little yay patriotism and weirdness show, but it's set in this really weird post-apocalypse of like the Mormon faith variety flavor. It's really subtle, but it really comes out in that one because it is like the Mormon apocalypse.
Mormon flavor
Band name.
Yeah.
Or like the post-Mormon apocalypse. Like that's another interesting band name.
What is the flavor of Mormon?
The flavor of Mormon? I have no idea. I've never tried. I've never tasted.
I feel like they're a vanilla bunch.
Vanilla with some kind of thing threaded through it. Real gooey.
Ew.
It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Gooey?
Gooey, like the, a little nasty kind of,
Some hidden caramel?
yeah. Like,
Did you say Hidden Caramel, Adam? Because that's another band name.
Hidden caramel?
Yeah.
Terrible band name.
That's pretty bad.
there's a... The time frame is also sort of unhingy. Sometimes I feel like I know exactly when all these time frames are happening. Sometimes it's like irrelevant.
You know, that story that you were telling me, that feels like more like early 90s or late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Bicycles and kind of like technology that's a little bit old. It's like in history, but close enough that people can remember the era.
Yeah, I want that the
like
exact
the nostalgia
vibe.
Of that.
In the future, there's another story. For example, there's a big cataclysm, and it's funny that you're here and that you guys are familiar with that. The clown show that they made that was very Trump predictive, because there's totally like a vein of this. It's like me wanting to write stories in a world where, like, what if the Trump family does become some sort of like American oligarchic legacy thing? We just gotta tolerate it.
It's a nasty thought.
I know. It's like America became Trumptopia, and then I think the next level would have to naturally be Guntopia.
Dude, Trumptopia is like his theme park or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My podcast is called Good Morning Trumptopia.
Oh my gosh. We have another joke, kind of like band name. It's about a fictional Hidden Valley Ranch theme park called the Hidden Valley Ranch. With like a bunch of gag reflex worthy entertainment, features. Austin's been helping us craft it for a while, like the ranch river ride, where like you're just in a ranch river on a float, and like you can just dip like wings or carrots or whatever your choice is.
It's like edible rides.
Absolutely.
Eat the ride. It's like a skid. Can like the
It's like that wave. Like
can Skittles?
There's like a roller coaster where like it's like going up like and it gets to the top and you just get off and you're not out of breath.
It's the food court. the slow ascension is the food court ride.
What was the new thing you came up with, Adam?
I forgot.
Yeah, right. That was a really good addition to the
But wait,
to the
how
park.
would you get back down?
Some sort of super gentle glidey
Yeah, or like a slide.
It's like a really chill one.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, maybe it's like one of those slides where you get on like a towel because it makes you like less frictive. You just sort of like meander your way down. You kind of bump into each other.
You have a wave pool too.
Yeah, I was picturing a wave pool.
no.
Yeah, like a wave pool ranch.
Ew.
This is the lazy
I
river.
don't like that.
Yeah.
We already got enough ranch
Can I
swimming.
just say no? Like everything.
Butter seems more wave pool to me.
Okay.
Than ranch.
Yeah.
Ranch is a bit thick. Like the waves
It's the butter.
would have some momentum. You know what I mean? Like there's some weight behind those waves that might make that dangerous or uncomfortable. So, but maybe like melted butter, and like popcorn stations, or lobster tails. A lobster tail station.
That's like,
So you're like,
it's like VIP or something.
That's fancy, yeah.
it's a $10,000 a ticket. Sojourning
That
to
could
like
be the VIP. That could be VIP access only, dude. Butter wave pool and lobster tail.
VIP
Yeah,
lounge.
VIP
You gotta
lounge.
keep the butter hot.
That's the best part.
Just recycle heated butter, like it's like a
Then
heated
you
hot
have
tub.
pure liquid butter.
Can I?
Yeah.
this place is enough to make Caligula blush. Like.
At every turn, I've been imagining like a competing park that's Skittles because of Eat the Rainbow. So like I'm just dying inside.
It's like Willy Wonka style.
It's Taste the Rainbow. Eat the Rainbow makes it so much fatter.
You didn't say eat it, bro.
Just to have a taste and we leave some rainbow for the world.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh god, that's hilarious. I just wanted to move the chair out of the way so I can freeze Well, that's enough. That was a piece of beauty.
The whole time I've been here, just like trying to get some. perfect like motion.
So